presentation, 5 minutes of questions at the end. Get a drink from the bar, support East Street Crossing. One of our presenters, our second presentation is about the Lord, and the bar so kindly gave us free samples to try the Lord if you haven't tried the Lord podcast. They're going to be bringing that up, I think, around presentation number 2, hopefully beforehand, but maybe not. But tip them well, eat a lot of food, drink a lot of stuff. Thank you. This is a safe space. Be supportive, be accepting. We don't do fear and judgment here, discrimination, please. And be yourself, turn out, please. Would you like to present at Nerd Night? If so, please email us, scan the QR code. You can send me a message on Instagram if you want to. We have food. I don't know. We're booking out a couple of months. I couldn't tell you if it's open availability in July or August. I'm not sure. Tonight we have our first presenter is Robby. He's presenting on stage design. Second presenter is Brian, presenting on Lort. And third presenter is my little brother, Sammy. He's going to present on his top 3 months. Next month, we have Eric presenting on bike trails history of Rochester. We have a to-be-determined second bike presenter that month because it is it National Bike Month? Intergalactic Bike Month. And then we have East Coast Swing Dance. Let's get on with it. Robby, are you ready? One more thing. I think we might take a break after presentation number 1 this time. We usually do it after presentation number 2, just to give us maybe a little bit more time to get the Lord samples.
Alright, hello. Is this good? Alright, sweet. Alright, hello, my name is Robby, and I will be presenting to you guys on set design, architecture, and construction and film, and how different worlds are designed and created. Now, before I present, I would like to talk a little bit about myself. My name is Robby Brewstead. I am 24 years old, and I've lived in Minnesota most of my life. I'm currently living here in Uptown, and I'm near Lake of the Isles, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm an architecture student at the University of Minnesota. I enjoy music, movies, spending time outdoors, and the creative process beyond media and art. Throughout middle and high school, I played the trombone and tuba. Now in my 20s, I picked up a guitar, bass guitar, very curious person, and I hope you enjoy my Nerd Night presentation. Alright, this Nerd Night presentation will discuss a variety of aspects within set design, from early inspirations to how the set is shot throughout the movie. Each movie production has a very different and unique approach to set design, so this isn't necessarily a fully comprehensive presentation, but rather me sharing my own passions and interests in architecture, design, and movies. Set design is a highly underappreciated aspect of every film you watch. It covers many aspects from location scouting to building miniatures. It is fundamental to everything you watch. So I hope you enjoy my Nerd Night presentation. What is set design? Set design is the creation of the physical surroundings for theater, film, or TV to establish the setting, time, place, mood, and style of the story. It is a process which combines many skills to bring the director and writer's vision to life. The set defines and fleshes out the story and helps work to immerse the audience. The actual job title, set designer, doesn't necessarily mean they are involved in every aspect of set design. It varies by each production and is often a versatile role used to fill a crew's needs. There is dozens of people involved in drafting, conceptualizing, and building the set. And that right there is the iconic Friends apartment set. Just how probably a good example. So who exactly would be involved? There is dozens of roles involved in set design, especially for a higher budget, higher production. So in production design, there is storyboard artists, concept artists, illustrators, set designers, file makers, graphic artists. There's set decoration, so that's anyone who would be involved in how the actual set is decorated. People who purchase furniture or anything like that. There is property that also stands for props. It's not actual property, it's props like anything a character is holding onto. And that includes a variety of roles. And then the biggest one would be construction. That involves anyone making just about anything. That would be anything from welding to painting, even sculpting. It's just anyone involved in the physical construction of it. And then there's support staff, and those are just kind of the main people, just supporting everything. And to clarify, gang boss is not a gang boss, it is actually just a supervisor. I don't know why they call it that, it's probably just like an old school term. But yeah. So, early inspirations. To create an effective set, the design team must first establish and understand the setting of the story. They pull inspirations from the architecture and interior design styles from the time and place the story is set. More creative inspirations are needed for stories that take place in times and places that do not exist, such as sci-fi or fantasy. Due to this, you must draw inspiration from early architectural styles or analyze the development of architecture throughout the 20th and 21st century to predict how it would look in the future. That really helps give designers an idea of how the distinct rooms should look. So this example right here is Mont Saint-Michel. It's a castle, and it's an 8th century fortress built on a hill in France. During high tide, it's just surrounded by a bunch of water. But that was a major inspiration for, I think it's called Minas Tirith and Lord of the Rings. It's definitely on a much grander scale, a very similar shape. You can definitely see the inspirations there. But yeah, the design team looked at that and were like, looks like it. Another one would be Titanic. I would say this is less an inspiration or a one-to-one copy, but they had to really study the Titanic for the exterior sinking shots. They actually built a nearly one-to-one copy of it. That included a 17 million gallon tank on the coast of Baja California, Mexico. That would provide almost 360-degree view. So it looks like they're in the middle of the Atlantic and off the coast of Mexico. Also, the interior shots of the Titanic for the Titanic movie were exact one-to-one copies of the real interior of the Titanic. So it's the famous shots of like staircases, hallways, everything looks exactly what it looks like. But yeah, as you can see, just tons of scaffolding built into it, and they're just a super ship. So, yeah. And another example would be Blade Runner in 1982. Blade Runner took place in 2015 Los Angeles, which then was in the future. But they had to predict what the world would look like, which they used 1980s Hong Kong, style known as retrofuturism, to kind of reflect in how it would look in the future. And as you can see, there's a lot of inspiration between the two. So yeah, drafting. The process of creating a set is very similar to that of an architect making a real building. An important part of the process is drafting. Much like how an architect must draft plans for a space to be built, those involved in the construction of a set must know where each piece is placed to fulfill the full vision. Typically, the set designer, along with illustrators and other roles involved in the art department, create early drafts drawing from inspirations and aesthetics from the story. Drafting involves incredibly detailed and meticulous instructions so that the construction team can bring their vision to life. This here is just one of the interior shots from Parasite, the Wealthy House, along with indications of where each important plot point happened. Also for Parasite, they didn't use a house, they built an entirely new house. Riha Jun was the designer, so she was in charge of basically designing and creating this whole house. And they used a 3D rendering software similar to like Rhino or CAD to to create the house. And this right here, as you can see, one of the renderings, which is very similar to what an architect would do for a real house. I currently don't know where it's at, so I don't know if they tore it down or if it's still up. And here are some examples of a more fantasy drafts. I think this one down here is one of the Pirates of the Caribbean ships. But as you can see, it's just incredibly detailed. You know, every nook and cranny must be measured, must be written down so that the people who are building it are going to know what they're doing. Another key aspect would be location and scouting. If you're going to be building a set somewhere within the actual physical environment, then it's important that you choose the right location to build it. This is where location scouting comes in. It is the crucial pre-production process of finding, evaluating, and securing suitable filming and set sites that are outside of the studio. There's many aspects to consider when scouting for a location, such as weather, foot, and vehicle traffic. Is it realistic for film here, and how does it fit within the world and the story takes place? Within the world the story takes place. Over here is a Game of Thrones for King's Landing, and many of these shots took place in Dubrovnik, Croatia. So they had to really analyze, spend time in the city to understand if it would be fitting, including weather, climate, areas for shooting. They also had to talk to people who owned or took public place if they would be allowed to shoot there. Typically it would be the right amount of money. You could shoot just about anywhere. So that was a problem for Game of Thrones, but yeah, you can visit many real sites there today in Croatia. It's beautiful. Construction. So construction requires a profound level of craftsmanship and planning. Many challenges are faced when trying to construct a set. The team tasked with this construction must find a balance between realism and efficiency to make the set look as real as possible while also using materials that are cheap in number. Typical materials include cheap lumber or synthetic materials like polystyrene and foam. Dozens of skilled laborers are involved in creating a high-budget movie set. Some of these sets only being used for 1 or 2 scenes. The construction team doesn't just involve builders, but also sculptors, painters. Painters are really key because if you're building a mountain with foam, you need to paint it to make it look real. Material buyers and more. It's a really incredible endeavor. This right here is the sewers used in. You know, they actually built a whole sewer network for the characters to run through. This is just an exterior shot of it. And so as you can see, it took a lot to build. Filming a set. This is arguably the most important part to the set design process, deciding how the set appears on the camera. So many little, minute details are involved in this process, such as where each character stands and how they interact with the set, such as opening a door or breaking a prop. It's an incredibly important job to give the set the proper space and time it needs. Many tricks are employed to give sets and characters a sense of scale and importance. Got a little video?
It's like the whole goal here was to get as much depth as possible. We only had 8 trees, but we had to look at the whole forest, and basically we had to shoot those 8, change our positions, pull the camera back, shoot them again, change our positions again, pull the camera back again, and essentially stack them up. So you have, in a sense, 8 times 3, 24 trees instead of 8, by step and repeat. This is the kind of thing that you do to try to tie things together. So that once you're looking about 20 feet up, you're into the miniature, you simply continue on up into the canopy where it disappears into the smoke, and you have the sensation that you're looking hundreds and hundreds of feet into the air.
So yeah, a big part is what I would like to call illusion. You know, if you're filming in a forest like that, you don't want to be 8 trees, so they just using little tricks and movie magic to kind of give it a more important sense of scale. Which leads me to the idea of miniatures. Some things are just too big to realistically build and film. A massive stone castle or a dystopian sci-fi city would take years and billions of dollars to create to scale. So an effective solution to this issue is to create a miniature version of the set. The use of miniatures brings the story's vision to life by allowing anything to be filmed. The typical use of miniatures are exterior shots to give a sense of scale and style to the setting. Filming different angles of the miniature before switching to the human scale interior shot gives a sense that the characters truly exist and live within these created environments. This right here is Blade Runner 2049's miniature. This was the city, also taking place in Los Angeles, but they would do lots of editing, lots of lighting to make it look like a real city. Here's some more examples of miniatures. I use Lord of the Rings a lot because they really deployed this a lot. I mean, to create these things like castles or huge landscapes, you can't really realistically build it, so they created miniatures, and then they would switch to an actual interior shot that made it look like they were living there. I think that's Rivendell, that's Isengard, and Minas Tirith. But yeah, like this one here, there is a blue screen, which is green screen essentially. They would cast on landscapes behind that to make it look real. So yeah, in conclusion, set design is a major undertaking that doesn't receive the appreciation it deserves. Like many art departments involved in film, TV, and theater, it takes dozens of talented roles just to create one set, an exhausting amount of work and effort. Without the talented and passionate people involved in set design, movies wouldn't have the magic that immerses millions of viewers a year. So next time you watch a movie or TV show and see a setting that really inspires you, remember what it takes to bring that to screen. Thank you all so much for listening. Yeah, how it's changed with virtual CGI and stuff.
Yeah, virtual environment, LED walls, like, does that change? I guess if fewer sets are built,
Oh yeah, majorly. I mean, like take for example, when Lord of the Rings came out, it was mostly entirely digital sets, and then they made the Hobbit movies, and it was iconically mostly green screen. So yeah, it's really changed it. It's honestly pretty rare for a movie to have such a massive set nowadays. I mean, there's still going to be sets, but CGI has completely changed the landscape. Thank you. So like anywhere in the world that I would like to alter to fit a movie, kind of? Oh yes, okay. I love cyberpunk, so I would like to see like big city like Hong Kong or New York in like a kind of shitty, sleazy cyberpunk fashion, you know? That'd be my answer. Yes. Sorry, repeat that again? Yeah, my favorite movie that uses miniatures, or my favorite miniature, I know I've talked about a lot already, but I would have to say Lord of the Rings series because of how effectively they use it and how detailed it is. It's just really incredible. That would be my answer. Yes, in the back.
What set design technique do you find most impressive that you're like, I can't believe that somebody thought of doing that?
That's a good question. What set design technique do I find most impressive? Honestly, I would say miniatures. The fact that you can take something so tiny, make it look like a whole city or a whole castle, is just really impressive, and it takes so little, just a lot of great angles, which is just really cool. Yes, you.
Do you have any examples of a team with a small budget doing something really creative to stretch it?
Yeah, got an example of a small budget movie that really did it effectively. Typically for those kinds of movies with smaller budgets, they don't create a set, but they effectively use the environment around them. So I'm just gonna throw out like something I do, like the first Paranormal Activity movie. They just took a house, and so you kind of got to work with what you got, but it's achieved a lot. Just any kind of movie with a small budget, unfortunately, it's difficult to create an effective set. You kind of just got to work with the environment you have. Yes, you. That's a great question. Is it still called set design if it's just screen and CGI? I believe it's still called that because there's still someone who needs to design the 3D model. So there is a design process still behind it, even though it's virtual. So yes. Yes, you.
What kind of accommodations do set designers have to make for like filming, audio, and lighting?
Oh, huge amount. It's a massive part. I mean, you see, even for example, like the friend apartment or just a tiny room, they still need to be done in a warehouse for the sheer volume of microphones, audio, microphones, lights, cameras. So yeah, it's a lot of accommodation. I would say 90% of it is the accommodation for that. So yeah.
We have time for one more.
Yes.
Maybe to extend on that last question, what is the main thing that set design, if it accommodates anything or accomplishes something, what's the biggest win? Like that's more larger than life or whatever the production is.
Yeah. What is the biggest win for set design, like accommodating?
Like as opposed to an architect has all these things they're designing for, a set designer, if they do their job uniquely well, they've done what?
Oh, yes. Okay, that's a great question. An effective set, I would say they accommodate mostly for lighting and cameras. It's really, really important, but the most effective set sells it. It doesn't matter how big or small the set is, as long as you look on screen and you don't go, it almost blends reality and fiction. So that would require, I couldn't say kind of accommodate one or the other, but I would say lighting and cameras would be most important. Especially cameras, because you need to get such tight shots and things so you don't see in the background all these wires and stuff. So, yeah. Thank you.
So we were going to do a break now, but we got the Lord samples.